A lot of talk has been happening recently about the PlayStation 4 Neo or the PlayStation 4K, depending on your preference, and today a rather interesting rumour surfaced thanks to the IB Times. Now, this rumour has been sort of rebuffed, I guess, but let me discuss the original rumour first. Basically, the IB Times article reported an anonymous quote which was taken from the latest Edge magazine and allegedly comes from a chief technical officer or CTO who works in the industry. And they said, quote, PSVR was going to be terrible on a launch PS4. It was truly going to be awful. Something a bit more powerful starts to bring VR into range. If you want to deal with crazy requirements for performance in VR, you absolutely have to do this. So basically they were saying that Sony knew that PlayStation VR is not going to be very good on the standard vanilla PlayStation 4, so they're going to be doing PlayStation 4K or Neo to basically give you the optimal PlayStation VR experience. Now, naturally, this rumour spread rather quickly around the internet, as they tend to do, and a few game developers, including the Just Add Water CEO Stuart Gilray, took to NeoGAF to debunk this particular statement. I'm going to read out a few quotes from the thread here, but I will link in the thread. I will link the thread in the description below. Words, and they read as such: quote, PlayStation VR is fine on the regular PS4. Obviously, things are better on Neo, but considering the performance requirements, the actual experience is largely the same. The next one reads, gonna call this bullshit. I have a DVT PSVR dev kit sitting right next to me. We've already got our game running smoothly, with a few simple optimizations at native 90 FPS. Running at 60 requires no changes, but because of the degree of our freedom of movement, we settled on 90 for maximum comfort for the user. If we didn't have camera movement on multiple axes, we could have left it at 60 and been done with it. Granted, our game isn't quite the lookalike Dark Souls or Uncharted or something. It has fully realised visuals with physics-heavy gameplay. It was a bit challenging to track down these elements, which tend to hit performance in unpredictable ways in VR, but we are hardly seasoned developers here. And another quote reads, quote, since we're running a launch PSVR title, I can say this is total shite. We don't have a problem running at full speed in our title on a regular PS4. So obviously it's a bit of he said, she said at the moment, but given that we've seen demos with it running on a PlayStation 4 and early impressions have, understandably been on a PlayStation 4 vanilla as far as I understand, of course, this seems like it's probably debunked, but until we actually see the thing released, it's hard to say, but I'm going to go with the developers over an anonymous source myself, but of course, time will tell how true these rumours are. I have no doubt that PlayStation VR is going to run better on PlayStation 4K. That's pretty obvious. It's kind of like saying that an Oculus Rift is going to run better than the PlayStation VR. The thing has more power, of course it's going to run better, but that's not to say that it won't run just fine on vanilla. I have not tried the PlayStation VR, sadly. I've only tried the Oculus Rift Dev Kit 2, as I said many times, so I could be wrong. But based on what we've seen from early impressions and, of course, comments from the developers, I'm inclined to agree, lean towards them. But, of course, you're free to read the thread yourself and decide on which way you stand. An interesting debuff, to be sure, or shall we say rebuff. Either way, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.